Let's not waste any time. The two dream makers are with us tonight, director Denis Villeneuve and composer Hans Zimmer.
Thank you. Hey, first of all, thank you so much, everybody, for coming to watch the movie in the theater. That means the world to me. Thank you.
Yes.
And hear it in the theater. So I want to ask about Dune, but Denis, I had a question for you first. In terms of music, was there a score when you were, because I know this book was important to both of you as young boys or teenagers. When you were young, was there a score for a film that really made an impression on you or stuck with you or influenced your taste in scores?
That's a super good question. Finally. No, I think that there's multiple answers to that, but I will say that the score that probably traumatized me, it's like the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
I mean, I still remember that, and then 2001, of course, it's those other score that probably had the most impact at the time. No? But yeah.
Did I hear a little Ligeti 2001 nod in this score? Right at the titles?
No, not really. I hope not.
It's so brief, but that prologue leading into the title card for Dune, there's these kind of voices that lead into that felt very 2001 to me, just for a moment.
Me, I like to think yes.
Okay, I like to think no. It's our first disagreement on this. Seriously, on this whole project, I think this is our first disagreement. You are a troublemaker, young Timothy.
Good night, everybody.
Yes, that's it. We're going home.
Hans, you read this book when you were young. You're a musician. Did you hear music in your head when you were reading the book?
God, it was this sort of total experience, total immersion, and I think one of the here's a thing which might be weird to somebody who loves this story. I never saw the other film. I never heard the soundtrack because I made this film in my own head. Or I had images or flashes of something or the other. And it wasn't until, and I will say it like this, it wasn't until my friend Denis asked me very quietly one day, out of the blue, had I ever heard of a book called Dune, that it was like, oh, but of course, you know, if he wants to make it, I know that his vision and his dreams are not that dissimilar to mine. And I don't know, I mean, you know, I am speculating still. No, well, I'm not speculating because that's really what happened, you know. It's like we kept finishing each other's thoughts, we kept finishing each other's sentences as if we had thought of them before, I feel.
The first time you guys worked together was on Blade Runner, another film with a huge burden of expectations and many fans waiting to judge you and all that. But what was it about that experience on Blade Runner that made you think Hans was the person you wanted to go into battle with on Arrakis?
Oh,
no, he didn't. Wait, he just asked if I read the book. He didn't offer me the job.
I didn't offer him the job yet.
If he said no, I've never heard of it, you would have.
No, but no. On Blade Runner, it had been one of the most, sincerely, one of the most beautiful creative experience I had to work or to witness seeing Hans and Ben Wallfish working on the score together and the way they embraced the project, and basically they both saved my life. No? At the time, it's a long story, but I was an orphan. I needed a composer, and it was a bit at the last minute, and Hans generously was overbooked, overwhelmed, but he still, in the middle of the night, welcomed us in his studio and decided to get on board. Okay.
I believe I wasn't given a choice.
No. No, but Hans was the first one who saw Blade Runner, and the movie was in deep need of music. And I was exhausted, and I would remember all my life Hans watching the movie, and I'm sitting on his back, and he's watching the movie like that, sitting like that. And at the end, he turns toward me, and he said warmly, "It's good. It's good, but it's missing this." And he started to play live on his synth few notes, and I cried sincerely, because he had exactly he was bringing the exact emotion, the exact idea of that what was missing in the movie, that deep, pure, painful melancholia that I was looking for, and I was deeply moved, and that the process was so. It would be easier for me to talk about it if Hans was not there. So you went, okay, no, no, but it's because I don't want to feel like if I'm putting, but it's just Hans, his relationship with creativity, the way he approach his music, the way he approach creativity, it deeply moves me. The generosity, the flexibility, how he listens, how he presence. For me, it's quite unique. It's one of the, by far, one of the most beautiful collaboration I had in my life when we did the score on Blade Runner. So it was natural for me at the time when I learned that I was about to direct Dune, that he was the first one I talked to, because I wanted to, from an egocentric point of view, I wanted to reproduce. I wanted to go back there again. I wanted to work more with Hans. That's the truth.
So because this is something with all this baggage, all this expectation, it's like a holy text for people. One of the things that I came away so impressed with from this film is that you were faithful to the text, but you didn't feel like you had to quote every chapter and verse from the text slavishly. What you did was you sort of, to borrow the religious metaphor, you kind of created this worship service around this text, and you focused on the experience of the text rather than the plot. You didn't cram in a lot of plot. There's a patience to it. There's kind of a sacred space quality to it. So obviously music is key to that, but I wonder if that resonates with you, that metaphor.
Yeah, definitely. The idea was to try to preserve as much as possible the poetry, the beautiful ideas that were in the book. Why, in fact, I made this adaptation in the first place for some precise ideas that were in the book. So I wanted to protect these ideas. Of course, when you adapt, you destroy. I mean, it's like an act of vandalism almost. I mean, it's like it's violence to go from one art form to the other, from medium to the other. So it was a long process the biggest challenge was to make sure that people who knew nothing about the book will feel welcome watching the movie, but the hardcore fans, like we were, will find the essence of the book in the film. And one of the elements that I thought will be crucial for the success of the movie was music. I never made a movie in my life with that amount of music before. Some of my movies that you can count on one finger the minutes of music. It's like but this one I felt will be very operatic, like almost like a progressive rock score that will start very slowly and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I needed a strong ally. I needed Hans to bring a sense of spirituality, some kind of sacred quality to the movie. We talked. That was the first thing we talked about, spirituality. In the book, nature is the God, and the biology is the religion. So it's like I wanted really to enhance nature, to bring it close to us and to use music in order to create that relationship with nature.
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, our other, very important thought for us making it, I don't know if it was important for you, was the idea of that really the strength of the story is not what you see, but it's the female spirit that pushes, the power of the female, which constantly pushes the story forward. So it was really important. I mean, Edie Lehmann-Boddicker, who came to our rescue with finding truly remarkable singers and being part of it as well. I mean, that's really where we started. I mean, this was before COVID times. I mean, remember we had like days of experimenting with voices, and Edie found, for instance, Laura Kotler in Brooklyn. And we have this very sad, Denis and I have this very sad photograph during COVID of Laura sitting in her closet with her coats hanging over her head while she's singing, because that was the only space she could find. And the stuff she does, it feels like it reaches out across the mountains, it reaches out across the desert, and you see this photo of this beautiful woman, this beautiful creature in her closet in Brooklyn. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's sad,
but
it's fantastic. I mean, I think that's what I love about cinema. It's as you said, her voice is like it's like the spirit of the desert, but she's in Brooklyn in her.
I know. It's just it's just, I kept thinking, God, I wish we could unleash her. I wish we could take her out into the fields and into the desert, and it's oh God, and what a completely fearless performance she gave. I mean, committed to each note. I mean that.
Maybe the closet has something to do with it.
I don't know. But it's like, thank you, Denis, for being the kind friend and gentleman that you are. But ultimately, music and making movies is about all the people that you get to work with. It is about having truly the best time by gathering all your friends around you, and somehow ideas and creativity and art is being made by all the voices and by all the players and by everybody around you. And then suddenly we found ourselves in this very odd situation because we are really used to being working together. I mean, when I make the music, I like Denis to. When I write, I like Denis to be there. I like, the story about Blade Runner that Denis told. Let me give you my version of it. I saw what he did, and I felt words were inadequate to explain and express what I felt. So I went to the language that I am comfortable in. You might have noticed that both of us have accents. So I went to the language that I was comfortable in, and I just started to play my impression of what that movie was, but here we were suddenly forced to be in this sort of limbo, lockdown craziness, and that made it difficult. It made it different. I think it. I hope we don't have to do that again, is what I'm saying. It made it difficult, but at the same time, it was just amazing how everybody came to the call. I mean, look, the bagpipes. Let me just explain. The bagpipes were, of course, Denis' idea, because there's a shot of bagpipes, and if and people have questioned me about it, and if you actually go and do your research, you will find out that bagpipes are thousands of years old, and they were all over the Middle East or all over the desert. And I loved the idea that this family was setting foot on this new planet with an instrument that could be ancient, at the same time could be incredibly futuristic. And actually, to really tell the truth, I mean, the first sounds you hear out of the bagpipe is my guitarist Guthrie Govan. It's not a bagpipe at all, but did you know that? That's Guthrie.
I'm speechless. What the hell are you talking about?
The sound of the bagpipe at the beginning is Guthrie playing guitar.
When they are getting out of the, you're talking about.
And then when you hear all the bagpipe players, that's all the guys up in Edinburgh. But I just needed the single guy needed to, if you have if you surround yourself with extraordinary musicians,
The guys, when he actually gets out of the spaceship,
Yeah.
my bagpipe player that was playing bagpipe, you didn't use a bagpipe.
You wanted a progressive rock score.
I just love him.
You got one.
Wow.
So someone's furiously editing the Wikipedia page right now.
I forgot to mention it. No, but it was sort of, well, the flip side of the COVID loneliness was that, yes, I would, for instance, get Guthrie to play something and then send it over to our cellist, Tina Grow, and say, hey, can you truck that up a little bit? And she'd phone me and she'd go, there are notes in there that don't actually exist in the real world, because that's how Guthrie plays. He's a magician. So everything was, I think, for all of us, it was all about stretching the limits, pushing the boundaries.
Is there something else that you want to say to me tonight?
Probably. More confessions. I have to. No, but you.
No, but
we have time.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
It is a full-on rock and roll score at times. When it struck me the first time was the Leaving Caladan cue, where Paul's wandering on the coast, and you've got drums and electric guitar, and it's just full-on rock and roll.
Actually, that's the cello.
It's not a bagpipe.
Okay, I will explain to you. When Hans started the score, he said, I want to find new sounds and I want to express myself with instruments that don't exist. So he designed instruments and created instruments and then tons of research. And it was fascinating for me to see him putting himself in a vulnerable position where he will experiment, went to Home Depot, buying different kind of pipes, cutting them, and really crazy experiments. Well, actually, I never thought that you will change the nature of the bagpipe with the guitar player. I don't go that far.
God, I'm not going to hear the end.
But the idea was to make music that feel coming from another world. That was the idea of the score. Yeah. At the same time, I was obsessed with that progressive rock, and I pay for it, as you can see.
Why did that feel right? I mean, I told Hans this, but this book has attracted all these rock artists, from Led Zeppelin to Toto to Pink Floyd.
Klaus
sorry,
Schulze, for instance. I mean, that's why the end title piece. I think one of the things which was very nice is that Denis and I tried to honor some of those people that have been fascinated along the way. Edie spent 24 hours in COVID hell trying to recreate a Pink Floyd track, and me getting a phone call from Roger Waters going, there's just this little Hammond thing right at the beginning. Now, it's not that important, but I am phoning you about it. And me going, I did it, don't worry, I'm protecting it. And so we were protective of, like Klaus Schulze did a whole album called Dune, and then there's a track on an album called X, which is called Frank Herbert. And I thought it would be nice if we did something together, if there was, music is a good bridge to other cultures. It's nice to include these people.
The book has some psychedelism in it that I knew that visually the movie will be kind of Spartan. I mean, there will be something like a minimalistic, dry, but I wanted the sound to be more psychedelic, and that came this idea of the going back in the 70s, where when I read the book also, it was like Hans keeps saying, and I totally agree with him. We didn't took the book and brought the book to us today. Both of us went back when we were 13 years old, and we made that movie with that spirit
Yeah.
of being teenagers, and maybe this idea of the musical influence for me. I mean, I came from that period of time where, yeah, it felt right to be in that zone. Yeah.
Well, he's absolutely right. We did not approach the movie with the wisdom of hindsight and grown up. The force of the book somehow made us into these reckless teenagers again. And I'm going to say something very blasphemous. Blasphemous. There you go. German. It's my natural habitat. I remember as a young teenager going to see Star Wars, and don't get me wrong, I think John Williams, greatest composer we have, and Star Wars is one of his greatest works. But just as that legend went sort of up in front of me in a galaxy far, far away, far, far from here, and I was hearing strings and horns and trumpet, I was thinking, oh, so instruments haven't progressed. You know, it's like, shouldn't it be the music of the future? Shouldn't it be the sound of the, what is that? You know, so that recklessness came into play again, you know, when Denis and I started to work, where I just felt we couldn't do something conventional, whatever that means. I'm not saying John Williams is conventional in any way, but I just felt that what Denis was doing was not conventional. The way he was shooting this movie, the way, and remember, I mean, what you just did, you just saw it the right way. You saw it on a big screen, and you saw, for instance, the pacing is very precise for the big screen, where it takes you a while for your eye to wander across the screen. The sounds are for big speakers. You play that on your iPhone, I promise you, you're not going to hear a thing in some of the scenes. So that was part of our dream, that we were going to make this movie for this, which is us looking at you right now and going, oh, look at these people. They got to share our dream. They got to do shared dreaming with us when they watched the movie. So that was part of, you know, what we were trying to do with the music. And I really mean we, because it felt, you know, the weird loneliness of lockdown made it more important to somehow figure out a way of really being involved together.
I find the pace remarkable in how patient you are. When the temptation would be to, like a 13-year-old, breathlessly rush from one cool scene and cool line to another. And obviously there's a lot of voice in the score, but what I noticed tonight was that there's this feeling of breath in a lot of there's this chord, inhale, exhale, inhale. There's a lot of that kind of slow breathing quality to the score. Besides kind of the more ethereal, you know, time stretched out quality, were you thinking in terms of breath with those kind of 2-chord ideas throughout the score?
Not so much breath. I mean, you have to realize there's another partner that is not here tonight, which is our editor, Joe Walker. I first worked with Joe. We both worked together in 1988 for the BBC. I got fired. He kept his job. And Joe started as a composer. So he thinks like a composer, and so he understands rhythm. You know, I mean, he understands that rhythm and that the pace, the storytelling. Storytelling is one thing. Trying to create an experience is another thing. And I think what Joe and Denis aim for, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I mean, is that you have an experience, and they open it up for me to. They dictate my rhythm, you know. I mean, it's not dictate. It just feels natural. I think we sort of dance the same dance while we're doing this movie.
Are you like the sandworms, drawn to the rhythm? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Well, actually, no. The weird thing is, that little crazy drum pattern that keeps appearing, which we so lovingly call the worm boy. I always wanted to do something which was like the rhythm of the future, where humanity had evolved so much that it evolved away from 4/4 and EDM things, and that you could actually understand this rhythm, and it was just part of your culture. It was something you could dance to, and it was just like, I mean, when you hear it, you go, "What is this crazy shit?" It's like.
I just assumed you were trying to avoid the worms with that, but your theme for Paul, which is often on the Duduk, right? It reminded me of what you've said about working with Terrence Malick, the unanswered question. It feels like this searching, never-ending, ever spiraling kind of idea.
Yeah. Plus, it's sort of a fugue. I mean, it's like plus it's a canon. It's a fugue. It's things happen at different times. But really, what it was, partly what it is, it is not the unanswered question. It's the unanswered dream. One of the things that I love about the way Denis was thinking about the film and about dreams in particular is that some dreams come true and some dreams are just dreams, and you don't know which one tells you the truth and which one is just a random dream. But there was always somewhere there was the vision of the girl, so. His theme, which is really like, that guides you through this movie, is at the same time something that misguides you through the movie, which I felt was important. By the way, that's another confession.
So where's the balisette?
Hang on, no, that's his to confess. Did I not write those songs?
You did, and they were beautiful. And Josh Brolin did a beautiful interpretation, played the balisette.
Really?
Oscar Isaac was able to play the balisette. Actually, it was very funny. And we shot that. It's a scene that I'm responsible. I kill a lot of darlings doing, and it didn't. When people ask me, is there something that was painful to cut? I always say, yeah, the QnA song. And the good news is that we are making part 2, so hopefully the balisette will. Yeah, it's for those who don't know, Josh Brolin's character, who is a poet, as a soul, is a warrior, a soul of a poet, but also very famous for playing an instrument called a balisette, a string instrument, and singing songs. And Hans had created a beautiful piece of music on the words of Frank Herbert, but it didn't make the cut. Yeah,
I think everyone who came in had to prove they were vaccinated and that they'd read Dune, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Denis, I'm curious, was there a particular scene or moment that Hans's score really transformed for you or brought a new life to?
I think that there's multiple moments, but I will answer differently. I will say that one scene that when I heard what Hans brought, I was so deeply happy because it's the scene where Paul and his father and QnA are flying to the desert. And Paul will be for the very first time of his life in contact with that landscape that feels dangerously familiar to him, but that he received for the first time he received the impact of that landscape, and you have that big crawler that will be swallowed by the worm, and we had multiple discussion about what the scene meant and what were the emotions we were looking for, and when came back with that beautiful, delicate, spiritual score that create tension, but in a very unique and powerful way, but in the same time being miles away, the very opposite of a monster score. There's that huge beast coming towards us, like and it's a very spiritual music, which is exactly that. It's when Paul is in contact with the worm, it's a spiritual encounter. It's not he's not in front of Godzilla, you know, and then that deeply moves me that he was able to directly found that. Yeah. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I mean, I keep, again, you know, this is one of those, it was, I never thought about it. I just always went, it was like we understood each other.
I have, that was not really answering to your question because we had conversation about the idea of spirituality at that moment. I was just deeply moved by the way he did it and what, but there's something that Hans did that it's when just before the attack, as a soldier will come and wake up Josh Brolin, QnA, there's you hear the whisper of the women, like how do you say that in English? Un complot. It means that people they are. You feel the thread of the Bene Gesserit just with the music. That there will be a massive attack coming from the Harkonnens with the benediction of the Emperor, but that the influence of the Bene Gesserit overall. That the idea of having that influence.
There's prophecy in the score. It's foretelling.
Well,
it's very powerful.
Well, you know what? This will sound ludicrous, but maybe it doesn't sound. Actually, you guys can tell me. One ambition was to. The book is full of internal monologue, and we couldn't do internal monologue, and we didn't want to do voiceover, obviously. But one of the things I tried to do with the music is, well, it's in conjunction the music, the editing, and the acting, that you have the feeling there's more going on behind the eyes, behind the scene, behind, you know, there's more thought going on in each character, that there is an internal monologue going on all the time. You can't be specific with, you know, it's the old Leonard Bernstein thing when he explains at the Harvard lectures about Beethoven's Pastoral that it's not really about milkmaids and cows. It's the same thing, so I can't do proper internal monologue, but I can make you feel there's something maybe that is hidden from you, but it will ultimately reveal itself.
I know everyone has 1,000 questions, but it's late, and they've been doing a lot of press, and so I want to gracefully wrap this up. That's a nice place to end it. So thank you all for coming out to this amazing screening. Thank you, too,
Thank
for
you very
making
much.
this beautiful
Thank
dream.
you.